Hello, it's Colette from the Sacred Rose Temple, and I thought I'd give you this week's little energy report just to kind of help you along with what's going on in our collective at the moment. So, we're all feeling pretty washed up from the eclipses, right? And we feel like we've been kind of chewed up by the sea and spat out, and that we are on this new space, this new land that we really have no idea about. And it's asking us to change, to reset, to reconfigure, to look at what new potentials want to come into our life. It's really key that we understand that the eclipse is always about a reset. It's never really about whether it's good or bad. I mean, that's a judgment from our humanness, but really much more about what's being asked to change and how is my life going to now go forward. We can allow some grace for that. We can be sat in a field or another void space, say, of where we say, okay, I need to really sit with this and feel where I'm going next. But what we know is that we can't go on like we have been. I think many of us have been caught in some kind of really low level, mundane behaviors, mundane living. We've kind of been aware of that and not truly happy with where we are. We've been feeling that, is this really what life's about? That there's got to be more. And that might be even if you've claimed a dream, or you're in a position or in a romantic communion with somebody, you still might be feeling that plateau. And I think it's really important to honor that and recognize that yeah, things have got pretty mundane, pretty much the same. And I don't want to live a life in the mundane, that same old pattern, because it's not really allowing my soul to be alive. And I think that's a very potent statement about the soul being alive. We really need to think that. What makes our soul feel alive? What do we really enjoy doing? And that we enjoy doing needs to be more integral in our life. We need to make that a priority. We need to feel what it is that keeps us in the fear of not doing that very thing that we really like. We might be pretending that we like what we do already because we're scared of looking at something different, something bigger, something that we might makes us feel inferior. So we need to be aware of that inferior complex in us that's saying, actually, I'm not good enough. And I was sharing this the other week that, people give all kinds of excuses, or this was my upbringing, or this is where I came from, and my life's been different to yours, or whatever. And I was one of them people that came from low socioeconomic background and dreamed big, really. And my dreams scared me and still scare me. But what do we do? Lose sight of that vision with the story of the victim? Or do we come forward as the hero and say, don't matter what conditions I've come from, whatever conditions I've come from, I've actually been there to grow me as a person. So lots of things came up for me with regard to that when I got the contract to work for Shift. And I was, really aware that I wasn't about to compare myself to others. My story, my journey is unique like yours is. And if you are always placing yourself as victim of the story, you're going to really, not live life fully. So a really important kind of journey I want to share is something I did with my Jungian psychology in a year's container I was in working through the alchemical stages of the self. And it was to think about which myth was our story of life. So I had a deep fascination with the Wizard of Oz. And so I automatically knew that the Wizard of Oz was my myth of life story, and that I am an archetype of Dorothy. And it's been really true, actually. I could map out the whole of my life in the whole story of Dorothy. And I find myself at this point now, having been to Oz and coming back, finding that home was actually where I've been looking for and that I had the magic all along. I'm sat back in Kansas and I'm thinking, okay, what now? Because the Technicolor of Oz and all of that magic place that I knew existed, I've seen it. But now I'm back in the black and white and I'm feeling, how do I create that magic here? That's where I am in my myth. So if you have a myth that you loved as a kid, a story, a film, a movie, a book, then try to work with it. Look at what the hero or heroine of the story is trying to show you. What does the heroine want you to push forward to? What, the heroine or the hero of a story is never the victim. They always overcome adversity. They always overcome the fear. They always manage to come out triumphant. What is the triumphant for you? You've got to know that. What's the quest of life you're on, and how do you come out triumphant? We will really need to start acknowledging that as we pass through the collective and all the atrocities that are happening. There are heroes in this world that will come out of this collective having triumphed in their corner, that they made a difference, that they made a change in a world that was slowly falling into the darkness. We can analyze that and make that, absolutely an analogy with many films. What was their role? What is your heroine or hero's role as the world slips into this darkness? And what we need to look at is that the current energies this week are going to be about projection, what we project on others. And we're often more projective when we don't really know ourselves. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we stand for. We don't know our limits in knowledge. We don't know who we're sharing what with. We've got no understanding of them, but we may have a projection of them. And that's going to really be highlighted this week. I've shared something in the Sacred Rose Temple with regards to that very thing, because I felt it was a potent lesson, the one that I'm having in my own psychological exploration, but one that I wanted to share about just owning your own knowledge, owning where you come out, your knowledge, and start to share from a belief and how that might dilute you, rather than feeling, where is my field of knowledge? What do I really know? What have I really embodied? And how can I own that first and foremost? And then speak from that place and be engaged in those topics where I am in the field of wisdom. Like I really know this because I've lived it. And I don't just know it because I've read it in a book or seen it on YouTube. And I've made a distinction there between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is kind of learned, seen, read in a book. Wisdom is more embodied. It's been lived. So, with regards to me and my womb work, I've done, 15 years plus of work and training in the field of womb wisdom. And I have lived it as a practice. I have embodied it. And I'm at the space where I bring out practices. I get practices within the realms that I work in, and I bring them out for women to work with. So I can speak quite profoundly on the womb wisdom, but I'm less able to speak to somebody on, genetic physicist, being a genetic physicist, and I wouldn't go into their realm and start to share some beliefs or from a place of absolutely limited knowledge. So I think we all need to watch out for that as we go on in the week. We need to be a little bit sensitive with people, because people are very prickly this week, and we are prickly, and we're going to get a lot of people projecting on us, and we're going to be projecting on them. So if someone's peeing you off, if someone's rubbed you up the wrong way, if somebody's behavior has annoyed you, own it. Just own it. Take it as a lesson, because it's something that wants to work through you. It's something that wants to teach you. And you have to know that when we're judging people in that way, that we're just bringing an outward projection. And that's why I hate the word non-judgment, because nobody is in non-judgment. That's just a bullshit, spiritually bypassing statement. We're always judging. And then it's what we do with that judgment. Do we then say, oh, I think that person's really rude, and believe they're rude? Or do you then say, that person feels really rude. Why do I feel that? What's that? What's happening for me with that? What's that showing me? What do I learn from that? And you make it more about you. That's going to really help you, A, grow, B, stay out of situations where you're transferring onto people, and just keep life a little bit more peaceful for you at the moment. What you don't really need is to be embroiled with anybody else's situations or be in a dynamic of arguing with somebody, because literally we're all just feeling a little bit sensitive, and it's best that we just kind of understand that about one another at the moment. Just allow the sensitivity. So I hope that really helps this week as we ride through. As we move through, relationship is still very, very, Venus is still working her magic. She's still trying to bring us in harmony with relationship. So we're going to be really doing quite a lot of clearing out. Who do we want to be friends with? Do they resonate with us? And that's to be honest about frequency as well. Like, it doesn't mean you're better or worse than them, but are we in the same frequency? If I want to be inspired and passionate, am I around people that are inspiring and passionate? And that's kind of the vibe I'm feeling at the minute. I'm really don't want to be in the mundane. I help people there, and that's my work. But in my personal and private life, I really need to be more inspiring myself, be inspired and be around that kind of energy. I need some more joy and some more fun. And so calling that in really, and really having an antenna out for travel and, just naming the things I want to do that are in a different frequency, aiming to be there, and that pulls in. One of Jung's famous quotes is about being, doing the work consciously on your own quietly will eventually draw in the right people for you, make you lonely at first, and then we'll draw in the right people. So I feel it's just better to be lonely for now and really reset who you are, where you're going, what you want to stand for, and then allow the energies to come and match up with that. So matching up frequency, matching up, goals and dreams and ambitions and where you want to be will be very important as we move through this week. So I think it's a week of more really sitting with yourself. What relationships are working? What are not good for me? Where am I judging, projecting? What lessons are there for me? And then what is it I'm really looking for in life? I don't need to have that nailed down right now, but what kind of life do I really want to lead? So some things have come very clear for me about relationship, loving relationship, and really anchoring into sacred relationship with someone who wants to run with that and really, really drop and devote everything to that. And so, yeah, I've got like a few things that are coming up that I really want. And that gives me a list of things that I need to work on to get that. So dive deep, spiritual seekers. This is potent, potent transformation energy in our collective at the minute. And the highes are rooting for us. The chaos that we're seeing is divine order. Chaos always brings with it divine order. The light always comes in after the dark. This is trying to work for us, not against us. And if we can see it as that, we do become the heroine. So bye for now. Take care and just drink this potent medicine that's there for the taking.